Right, so we're going to move on to our next presentation, which is about the Klang Valley Mass Rapid Transit Putrajaya line, managing delivery of the tunnelling works and revealing how major challenges were met in performing across variable ground conditions, a dense urban environment, and the unprecedented impact of COVID-19 pandemic. Now, I'm particularly pleased to introduce this project. I was very fortunate to be a judge for the International Project of the Year Award, and this project won the International Project of the Year Award at the recent GE Awards. And there are others in this audience who work for companies, organisations that also received awards. NCE I can think of, AECOM, and there will be others. So if you could show by putting your arm up as to whether or not you were one of the lucky recipients of a GE Award at the recent event. Here we go, very good. Excellent, thank you very much indeed for that. Well done. Right, moving on to the presentation, if I may. Introduce to you Hau Wei, Deputy Project Director of Gamuda Engineering. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, good afternoon all. My name is Hau Wei, and I was the Deputy Project Director for the underground works for MMC Gamuda JV. Last I stood here, I was leading the team to receive the award for innovation for our autonomous TBM back in 2019. It is my great pleasure today to present to you one of the finalists tonight for Tunnelling Project of the Year, our Klang Valley Mass Rapid Transit Putrajaya Line underground works. This 57-kilometer KVMRT Putrajaya line is Kuala Lumpur's second metro line, but I will be covering the underground works, contract valued at over $3 billion US, of which MMC Gamuda JV is the main contractor. Our client is MRT Corporation on behalf of the Government of Malaysia, and AECOM is our design consultant for the contract. The underground works comprise 13.5 kilometers of twin-board tunnels and 11 underground stations. The tunnels were constructed utilizing 12 tunnel boring machines across 16 drives. The underground alignment traverses through the heart of the densely built-up city of Kuala Lumpur. For some context of the technical and stakeholder challenges, on the right photograph, you can see a bird's eye view of Conley Station, approximately sited in the middle of the underground alignment, which was used to launch 4 TBMs, and the station box is essentially surrounded on all sides by high-value and high-rise properties. To add to the complexity, the underground alignment passes through 4 distinct and highly variable geological conditions, including abrasive granite, the Kenny Hill Formation, alluvium, and Kuala Lumpur's notoriously challenging Class 5 extreme karst limestone, with over a dozen interfaces between the geologies. This presented unique challenges for the excavation of the underground stations, requiring specialized ground treatment and hybrid retaining systems, and particularly, of course, for the 13.5-kilometer twin-board tunneling in various mixed-phase conditions. To give you a taste of the geology we encountered on the project, here we have actual pictures from Chan Sao Lin Station, which sits within the karst limestone formation. You can observe the network of solution channels, fissures, cavities, and underground caves encountered during the excavation of the station box. 10 of the TBMs we used to construct the Putrajaya line tunnels were multi-mode variable density TBMs capable of both slurry and earth pressure balance operations. We experienced some delays in the project's first years, from late land delivery in some sections to shaft excavation delays in others due to challenging ground conditions. We made some critical decisions early on to resequence our TBM drives and to extend some TBM drives with the TBMs mining through delayed intermediate stations. The inherent flexibility of our VD TBMs, which can handle any of the 4 distinct geologies, and the fact that we were awarded as a single package contractor, enabled this resequencing, and also brought about a lot of robustness in our construction program. The underground space in Kuala Lumpur has historically not been particularly well regulated. There were no previously defined tunneling corridors for the 2 metro lines. This meant that despite best endeavors in selecting tunnel alignment to minimize land acquisition and the impact to public and private properties, quite many structures along the alignment needed to be demolished or protected. Some of these structures were quite substantial, including 2 16-story blocks of police quarters that we had to relocate and demolish as part of our contract scope. In addition, many structures along the alignment needed to be underpinned and sometimes have the old foundations removed without decanting the existing residents above. The tunnel alignment also passed within meters just above or under live infrastructures such as Smart Tunnel, existing MRT Line 1 and LRT tunnels, and traversed under several rail lines. We also passed in close proximity to heritage structures such as century-old religious sites and the National Craft Centre. We had a comprehensive instrumentation and monitoring scheme with over 20,000 instruments to monitor the response of these structures before, during, and after the passing of the TBMs, and of course to validate our tunneling parameters. One of the underground stations of the Putrajaya line serves as an interchange station with the first MRT line. At the live and operational TRX station, we had to dock a total of 2 pairs of TBMs in a stacked positions to make this interchange connection. The TBMs were blind retrieved through the tunnels they built and out via the launch shaft openings. All these works were completed without any disruption to the first MRT lines. Some of the challenges that we faced on the project were of a different nature. In 2018, with the project steadily underway, we welcomed a new government after a historic election in Malaysia. As part of their austerity measures, they initiated a review of all mega infrastructure projects in the country, resulting in our contract's abrupt termination. We mounted a concerted effort with our client to find a cost-palatable solutions for the government and all stakeholders. During this highly disruptive period, we did our best to keep the project running still, despite the contract being in a hung state for several months. Eventually, the contract was reinstated with a scope cut and a 15% cost reduction. COVID-19 has been a key theme globally in the last 2 years, and we acknowledge it as a top risk to our project delivery. In response, we set up a one-of-a-kind new normal ecosystem that comprised the only in-house private PCR laboratory in the country. We employ a dedicated crew of 40 professionals and technicians, headed by a registered virologist, to carry out fortnightly screening for the entire workforce of over 20,000, from senior management down to the site operatives. This frequent screening regime, coupled with very stringent SOPs, allow us to nip in the bud any spread of COVID-19 before they develop into larger clusters. We also established our in-house COVID-19 triage center to provide 24/7 medical care for symptomatic category 2 patients and to minimize deterioration of our personnel to category 3. This reduced the burden on the public healthcare system, which was already stretched to its limit at the time. As the national COVID cases rose, we quickly pivoted to construct a new centralized labor quarter, or CLQ, in just 3 months to reduce the density and improve social distancing of our workers. We also reconfigured and retrofitted our existing CLQ with segregated common facilities to lessen the potential of any spread of COVID-19. Our facilities were touted as a gold standard for COVID-resilient worker accommodation by our local media. Each of these CLQ also had its own quarantine center to manage any positive cases, and we also introduced a line-wide digital passport system for tracking access, vaccination, and test results across all sites and CLQs. The infectivity and transmission rates on the project closely followed the national trend until we implemented our new normal ecosystem, which was in place by the end of 2020. After that, you can see a clear divergence of our project case numbers from the rising national case numbers throughout 2021. Our new normal ecosystem managed to suppress the spread of COVID-19 in our work sites and ensured that they remain low. Armed with this data, we convinced the relevant authorities to allow us to continue working at full capacity throughout the various lockdowns in the country. As a result, we delivered the tunneling works on schedule at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, in contrast to many other delayed infrastructure projects worldwide due to COVID-19 disruptions. Our project have also played an essential role in elevating national safety and health standards in the construction industry by benchmarking to international best practices over and above our local legislative requirements. Our exemplary safety and health performance gained us 4 consecutive 5-star audits by the British Safety Council, in addition to 2 consecutive Swords of Honour, and we are pre-qualified for a 3rd. During these audits, our new normal COVID ecosystem was also highly commended as a very forward safety and health initiative for our workforce. We also believe strongly in upskilling our local workforce and established many leading industry academies, such as our BIM Academy, which trained over 5,000 BIM professionals across the country. We also set up Asia's first tunnel training academy, which trained over 1,000 operatives, including TBM operators, mechanics, and electricians, and our KVMRT Safety Training Center, which offered upskilling for high-risk activities like working at heights. Over 50,000 personnel have passed through its doors to date. As an extension for our Tunneling Training Academy, we established a TBM refurbishment facility in partnership with local SMEs and our TBM manufacturer, Herrenknecht. 8 of the TBMs used on the first metro line were refurbished at this facility by our local mechanics and electricians for use on the Putrajaya line. This not only allowed us to upskill and provide hands-on training and knowledge transfers for the locals, but also we were able to offer hundreds of millions of savings to our client, as well as significant reduction in potential carbon emission from this refurbishment initiative. A unique feature of our stakeholder engagement program has been our focused outreach to the next generation of engineers. Apart from roadshows, we have multiple visitor centers in strategic locations along the alignment. And we have welcomed thousands of students from various institutions to learn about the project and hear from our best engineers. When site visits were not possible during the pandemic lockdowns, we continued to engage the public via online sessions and a custom 360-degree virtual tour experience of our stations and tunnels. Our industry-leading innovations have also been key differentiator for our project. We are one of the few globally to implement BIM Level 2 for a project of this scale and complexity, certified by the British Research Establishment. It was a difficult journey though, as most local players were not ready for BIM Level 2 implementation of this scale. So we had to do a lot of hand-holding, especially in the earlier years, to bring the general industry to the level that we needed them to be. Our BIM Academy, of course, was a critical success factor in this journey. In the BIM and digital engineering space, our in-house innovations have won numerous industry awards. One of the most practical applications has been our BIM AR project, which is essentially augmented reality paired with BIM. It is a mobile application that uses the camera on a tablet to overlay 3D BIM models in an actual built environment, allowing clashes and errors to be spotted instantly on-site and minimize costly reworks. This unique innovation won the Malaysian Technology Excellence Awards in the augmented and virtual reality category in 2020. We're also well known for our innovative drone applications. We use drone surveying to produce visual representations of up-to-date progress at all our construction sites. These 3D photo mosaics captured by the drones are sufficiently accurate for work planning and to overlay into our BIM models. This is then made accessible to all relevant stakeholders via our cloud-based Geospatial Information System, or GIS, for seamless collaboration between parties. Various awards have recognized this initiative, but most notably the Special Achievement Award in 2019 for innovative use of GIS in addressing real-world challenges. And of course, some of you may be familiar with our multi-award winning autonomous TBM, which has been the talk of the town over the last 2 years in the tunneling industry. Since 2019 edition of the NCE Awards, our ATBM system has successfully completed over 10 kilometers of autonomous tunneling. It has been a critical factor of success to our own scheduled delivery of the Putrajaya line tunnels. Essentially, our ATBM system comprises custom AI algorithms that allow our TBMs to autonomously drive themselves with minimal human input. resulting in higher productivity, lower risk, and safer tunneling for us, the contractor, our clients, and most importantly, the general public. Most projects of this scale and contract values are extraordinarily complex and challenging. But what really sets us apart is our new ecosystem for managing COVID-19 with proactive measures, including setting up of our own in-house PCR laboratory. And our track record of keeping the COVID case low on the project to deliver tunneling works on schedule despite the nationwide lockdowns. In doing so, we continue to demonstrate exemplary safety and performances, securing consecutive 5-star audits and upskilled over 50,000 local workforces via our academies. Despite and because of the job's complexity, we have led innovations in autonomous tunneling and digital engineering, largely in-house. Overall, the journey has been a really special one with many positive outcomes for the society and industry. With that, on behalf of MNC Gamuda, I hope you enjoyed the presentation and thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much. Let you have a sit down after that. Thank you. Excellent. Right. Do we have any questions? I was very pleased that you referred to the difficulty you had when your project was almost stopped in its tracks by the government. We kind of get used to that, don't we? It's not a unique situation in your country, but you kept going, and that was fantastic. And it was very much a feature of your submission for the award that you were able to overcome that obstacle. Hopefully we can overcome some reservations about projects like the tunnel between Wales and Ireland, or Scotland and Ireland if we're lucky. Anyway, there's some encouragement to keep our heads down and keep going. A question, if I may. When I was working on HS2, I used to come up with a statistic that I call shifting zeros. It was going to take us, or will take us, 10 years in the UK to build 260 kilometres of high-speed rail. In China, in 1 year, shift the zero across 2,600 kilometres of high-speed rail. Now, a lot of people say, well, it's dead easy over there because you can just build what you like, where you like, how you like, you haven't got any local regulations, you can just bulldoze people's houses away. Okay, that's a factor. But actually, physically, China isn't flat. And if you're going to build a high-speed rail, you're going to encounter some extraordinary technical challenges. I think it's a fact that more than 5 of the world's highest bridges, in other words, the distance between the deck and the floor of the valley, those statistics are held by 5 structures on the high-speed rail system in China. At one time, it was the Millau Viaduct in Europe that held the record of 250 meters. That record's now 500 plus meters. So let's not belittle what China's achieved from a technical perspective and a construction perspective, but along those lines, we've heard some comments about easing back on the China relationship. Are you engaged with China suppliers, or are you very much self-contained where you are?
Oh, no, I don't think any projects, any companies can be isolated from using services and products from China nowadays. Most of our TBMs, actually all our TBMs are constructed and manufactured in China, although they are a German company, Herrenknecht, we all know that, but their TBMs are all manufactured in China. And we do have many supplies, temporary works and permanent works products that are approved by our clients. They are used in our project coming from China. We do have subcontractors working on above ground and underground, large construction companies working for us in the project from China as well. And I have to say that there are many things that for both parties to learn from us in managing them, and from them in working with us to the level that we need. But I myself can vouch that it worked out pretty well in the end. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that answer. Thank you. Has anybody got a question? There are some. Yes, here we go. Slido questions coming up. Amazing project. What was your biggest challenge? Political, technical, COVID-19, or something else? And I'm sure it's difficult to do this, so you can gather your wits, but in terms of ranking your challenges, they all sound huge.
Well, I will rank them all number 1 because they all happen at different times, right? And at the point of time when each of them happened, it is almost a showstopper.
Yes.
Right? COVID-19 was almost a showstopper. The change of government was almost a showstopper. And the technical challenge was difficult from the start. That's why we came up with a lot of what we so-called new technologies, variable density, autonomous TBMs, special ground treatments, innovations. But I would say that the one thing that we as a contractor expect the least would be the abrupt termination of the contract.
Yes.
All right, so that was a first for me, and I think for all of our senior management, we need to do things out from the construction norm and work together with our client to find and review with all consultants every single aspect of the project. We want to review where there's a chance for us to reduce costs, because that's what the new government want. Not because the original project cost was inflated, it wasn't the case, but they would like to save some money. So in the end, we found various areas where we could propose to them, saying that maybe this you do not need to do first, or you can do it later. We can shelve some stations, we can reduce some architectural features, and we managed to get the project reinstated with some cost saving for the government.
Thank you very much.
So that was a very exciting period. Yeah.
Yeah, well done. You've answered my question in your presentation about automation and the use of robotics, and as you said, relating back to the 2019 award. So I've got time just for one question, the second question that came up. So what do you think the British tunnelling industry would need to learn from tunnelling on your side of the world, and what do you think you might have learned from us here on this side of the world?
Well, to answer the second question, I myself and the company has not carried out any works here, so probably that's a bit difficult to answer. But in our project, we have a bunch of people from all over the world, especially from UK. I think so. We're not particularly strangers to experts from Britain. But what can the British construction players learn from us, I believe, probably, is our make it possible attitude. We work very closely with our client, our project director, our senior management, and down to our tunnel managers, has very, very close relationship with our client. And we have several collaborations that is only possible with the client. For example, the usage of the variable density when we developed it with the Heraconnect. The client was very supportive of that, so they allowed us to use it straight away from the blueprint with no track record. Similarly, when we wanted to install our autonomous TBM algorithms into 10 of our machines, they were very supportive of that. Most clients would be very scared of that, because it just has no benefit to them if it goes wrong. But our client is very supportive, and we work pretty much together, and we share the same target. So I think from my conversations with many veterans in the industry, I think that is very rare.
Right.
So I think that's one thing very special about the project for me.
Super. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed for your excellent presentation and for answering the questions so well. Thank you.